What's going on, ladies and gents? I'm back with another Anthem Minute. Lots to talk about in this video. Bioware's response to the loot problem in Anthem, and most importantly, the community's response to the loot problem, and even more shady information when it comes down to the loot system in Anthem. Yeah, if you guys thought the shady information that I shared with you guys yesterday on yesterday's Anthem Minute was shady, this is going to be even more shady. So let's just get right into the news when it comes down to Bioware's response. We appreciate all the feedback from the community on the game. We love the passion and share it. We're not yet fully happy with the game's loot behavior either. One of the downsides of moving so fast to improve is that we're making changes to complex loot system in several areas, and it's then harder to know how it's performing. In the next few months, that's right, let me repeat that again. In the next few months, we're expecting to make significant changes, but we're starting some incremental ones so that we can better navigate that evolution. Our goal is to ensure the best possible player experience. And of course, a lot of Anthem players were not happy about this. One of them being this dude on Reddit, Patch 1994. He basically said, something needs to be done right now when it comes down to the loot problem in Anthem. And guys, not only is the loot and progression system in Anthem extremely flawed, but they actually lowered the drop rate of Masterwork and legendary items even more than it was before, okay? Anyways, we'll talk about that later. This dude, Patch, basically says, I'm sick of Bioware pretty much telling us just to shut up, and I 100% agree with him. I understand Anthem is an evolving game, but I also understand that they had 6 years to make this game and 6 years to actually make a pretty decent progression system and a system that actually drops good loot. But wait, boys, it gets even spicier than that, because this Reddit user actually tested out loot drop rate before the patch and after the patch. Basically because he just wanted to. Look, I'm going to leave his post in the description below because I'm only going to be summarizing it. But long story short, before the patch, he got a total of 21 Masterwork items. And after the patch, he got a total of 7 Masterwork items. So before the patch, 10.5% of the items that he got while farming dungeons in free play were Masterwork items. So that means 10% of the time that you spent in Anthem, you are going to be receiving Masterwork items. Now, after the patch, only 3.5% of the items that he got were actual Masterworks. So that means that as of now, at the time we're making this video, only 3.5% of your time will be dedicated to actually getting Masterwork items in Anthem. But it gets even worse. So he got a total of 400 loot, 400 items when it comes to the table, including, of course, Masterworks, epics, uncommons, etc., etc. He said that 394 of the items that he got was basically salvage, all right, including 2 legendaries and 2 Masterworks because they were basically useless. 2 epic items had pretty good harvest stats, so he kept them. And he also kept 2 legendaries because they were both guns. And he kept 2 Masterworks because one was a universal component and another one was something for the Colossus that he never had. So in other words, 6 items out of the 400 items that he got actually helped them out when it comes down to get loot. But here's what he goes on to say: neither of them were an upgrade to my DPS storm build that I was running. So basically he got 400 items and he made 0 progress towards his build. It's something that I said a couple of days ago on my Anthem rant, guys. Loot and progression in Anthem is mathematically against you. Now, I guess you could say that this is okay, right? Because Bioware is learning from the mistakes that they are currently making in Anthem. Well, nah, not really. That's not the case. But first, let's take a look at this post by Easy Money Sniper. And this guy says, maybe I'm being cynical, but I feel like the #1 reason Bioware hasn't buffed loot is because they want to slow player progression down. And this is a fact. This is something I've also been saying for a while. They're just too shady about it, guys. Literally the proof that I showed you guys in this Anthem Minute and yesterday's Anthem Minute is more than enough proof that Bioware just wants to slow progression down so that players keep coming back into their game. They made a looter game that doesn't give us loot. But of course, let's stay on topic. This other post comes from Kokator, and he says the drip feeding store, the loot drop rate issue, has been voiced about 1 year ago on another Bioware game. This is of course Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I'm going to leave his post in the description below. But basically what he says is a lot of the problems that Anthem has when it comes down to loot and loot drop rate and the actual cosmetics, Star Wars The Old Republic actually had, which means Bioware didn't even learn from their mistakes when it comes down to past games, guys. They are again testing the waters. When it comes down to loot and progression, Bioware is testing the waters to see how much bullshit they can get away with. Alright? Let's take a look at a quote from this Reddit thread of Star Wars The Old Republic titled, "What is Ben Irving doing now?" And someone said, "He would probably do great producing a removed world mobile game that has only endless grind and milks the last cent out of its players with a removed world cash shop." And of course, when Anthem first came out, I saw this comment about Ben Irving. You know, this guy on the Anthem Reddit, he was talking about how Ben Irving basically, when he joined the Star Wars The Old Republic team, he basically just increased the difficulty and, I mean, the damage and the health of mobs for higher tier enemies, and he basically just added a lot of RNG. And then of course he also quoted that quote-unquote RNG is exciting. Again, the same mistakes that the Bioware team made on Star Wars The Old Republic are happening in Anthem. So guys, this is nothing new. I'm going to end this video right here. This is nothing new. This is something that Bioware has done in the past. They're being very shady, which is why I just want to let you guys know, you know, Division 2 right around the corner, my boys. All right, I'm even thinking of doing a Division 2 giveaway, right? Because if I can take people away from Anthem, honestly, I would be more than happy to do so, because I want you guys' time to be valued. I want you guys to actually get good loot. I want you guys to actually progress. And if there's one thing that I've learned from Ubisoft by observing them throughout the years with how they have supported Ghost Recon Wildlands, a game that was basically dead on release and didn't really accomplish anything. Ghost Recon Wildlands is about to get its Season 2 pass. All right. Rainbow Six Siege was a complete failure, not really, but when it first came out, Rainbow Six Siege wasn't that great. And guess what? Ubisoft stick with it, and now Rainbow Six Siege is one of the best games ever when it comes down to the shooter genre. Yeah, guys, you know, the evidence is just against Bioware, and again, at this point, the loot problem isn't even an opinion, it's just a fact. Loot needs to improve in Anthem. And hey, when it improves, I'm going to be right here, you know, to make the Anthem videos. And I'm still going to be making Anthem videos, of course, from time to time. But I just want to let you guys know I am not happy about the loot. And 90% of the community is also not happy about the loot. And I really hope Bioware gets their shit together soon before they lose their entire fucking player base. If you guys enjoyed this Anthem minute, feel free to subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Peace out.